Welcome back, DPReview TV viewers. Chris Nichols here from DPReview TV. Today we've got an early look for you at the Panasonic G95. Now, we're going to take this through downtown, but we have a fun idea today. Jordan and I are going to go on a scavenger hunt. And why we're doing this is because the G95, at first glance, really does seem like a true hybrid camera, photo and video, kind of like the GH5. So we're both gonna have a turn with this. And so this is what we're gonna do. I came up with 5 ideas that I want Jordan to hunt for and shoot. They have to be in motion. And Jordan has 5 ideas for me that I have to go and find photos of. I have no idea what they are. He has no idea what mine are. We're gonna surprise each other. We're gonna see how it goes today.
Okay, Chris, here you go.
Okay, so here's the big reveal. This is what I have to shoot.
I used fancy paper.
A DPReview challenge, juxtaposition hardiness, moire, extremely handsome cameraman. Where am I gonna find one of those? I hope somebody's shooting some news or something today. We'll see. Double puddle. You son of a... All right, so I want to explain, just for those that don't know, a DPReview challenge. On DPReview.com, there are these open challenges. The only prize is glory. You know, they run all these submissions. So from the ones that I have that are announced and upcoming in the next few days, I think I'm going to go with something blue. I'm not going to shoot this card, though. That would be lame. Yes, work with me. Yes. Blue. Now the body on the G95 is an SLR style kind of body, much like the G85, very lightweight. I love the grip. It's as if it's actually made for my hand, so I find that very comfortable. I love the 2 dials. We've got the white balance, ISO, and exposure comp now, very much like the GH5. And of course, it still has weather sealing. So, you know, in a moderate price point, we're getting a rugged, lightweight, and very nice handling camera.
It's puddles, just take the picture.
No. You gotta be very choosy about the puddles. This is not the right puddle. So where does this camera fit? I mean, the G85 was a great camera, and that is this camera's predecessor. It was a great all-around kind of camera. And the G95 carries along with that, but at the same time, I can't help but think that when it comes to photo, all they've really changed here is adding the 20 megapixel sensor up from the 16. This seems to be just, you know, Panasonic's way of modernizing their line. We've got all the cameras now, GX9, G95, GH5, G9, they all have the 20 megapixel sensor. But what's really being brought to the table photographically exciting beyond that? Jordan and I really love that the new crop of cameras on the market all have USB charging. It's very handy. And so we grabbed our power bank, we grabbed a USB-C cable because that's what all the new cameras are having. And the Panasonic G95 also has USB charging. But of course, when we look at the side, we find that it's actually the older micro USB port. It's not the end of the world, but we looked at each other and we're like, well, that's bullshit. Yeah, see, it's one puddle again. Why would you make it double puddle? When do you ever see 2 puddles together? DPReview does not stand for double puddle review. So another notable upgrade on the back of the camera here, we do have a 1,000,000 OLED LED now, fully articulating touchscreen, so that's very nice. And the EVF is still pretty much what the G85 had. It's a 2.36 million dot EVF, but it is important to note that this is not field sequential. We don't get that color tearing, and you still have cameras like the GX9, which are very similar to this camera, which do still have that. The LX100s, those still do have that, so it's nice to see Panasonic slowly phasing that out of their line. All right, so I found this Chinese lantern backlit. I'm shooting the texture. I think it's gonna be a great thing for Jordan's moire challenge. Now, Micro Four Thirds sensors generally don't have aliasing filters, and so I am seeing a little bit of moire here. It's nothing major. All right, there we go. That's my juxtaposition shot right there. And for you DP viewers, I'm shooting at f/22 because I need the slow shutter speed, and I have no filters, and I don't care what you say about diffraction. You know, so the last thing I really want to say about the G95, I mean, it's a nice camera to use. It's very nice. It's comfortable. I like how it handles. It's stable. It works well. You know, but there's nothing really exciting here for photographers, nothing that's really changing much. I mean, I think really it comes down to the processor that really puts this camera in its place. We don't get things like the 6K photo modes. That would have been fantastic to have as a selling point for this kind of camera, being an SLR type camera. We also don't get things like the high-res multi-shot mode, and I think these are all processor dependent. Yes, it does protect the GH5 a little bit and the G9 as well, and certainly this camera does have a lot to offer over the GX9. You get the better EVF, you know, we get a little bit more rugged body design, better battery life, and that kind of stuff. But all in all, It's a nice camera to use. I think the main upgrades here are gonna be video. So for that, let's jump over to Jordan and see how he's doing with those challenges of his.
Okay, Chris has completed his challenge successfully, so now it's my chance to find out what kind of mystery meat we've got here.
You're screwed.
All right. Low down dirty. The magic of flight. Ethnic charm.
Ethnic charm.
I don't see how I can possibly not get blowback on that. Ethereal. And bubbles.
And they all have to be in motion.
And they all have to move. Great. Everybody, it's Jordan Drake, and we're going to be talking about video on the G95. And looking at this thing on paper, this looks like the perfect YouTuber, vlogger kind of camera. You've got a fully articulating screen, you got a headphone jack, a mic jack, built-in stabilization, lots of great lenses, autofocus during video. Sounds perfect, but stop, because there's a couple things we still need to discuss with this guy. All right, this may not look very ethereal to you, but I got a trick up my sleeve. This now shoots 120p in 1080, and in slow-mo, this is going to be stunning. Ethereal, done, boom. I should go pick that up. I don't want to be a litter bug. All right, so I'm gonna try doing the vlogist thing. I think that's the name for it. And this is a really great camera for that kind of work, because we do have a fully articulating screen. We've got the dual IS2 system. It's fairly stable, considering how far I've got to hold this thing away from my body, because unlike the GH5 or the G9, this has a 4K crop. I'm shooting on a 12mm lens right now, but it's closer to a full frame 30, so I've really got to hold it out from my body. You need to know that when you're looking at using this as a 4K camera. Fortunately, there's no crop in 1080, so it'd be a little more viable for that. Now, as well, this does still have DFD autofocus, and it's very accurate for stills, but unfortunately, you'll get that kind of wobbling in and out kind of autofocus with it quite a bit, especially if you've got big light sources or wide aperture lenses. It's a real pain, and unfortunately, it's the system that Panasonic is sticking with for this. So this is an excellent vlog camera, especially considering the price, but I still don't think we've found the perfect vlog camera. Now, I know you're all in awe of that ethereal example that I showed at 120 frames per second, and it's great that this camera offers it in full 1080. However, there are some real disadvantages to it. The biggest one is there's no manual exposure control, just exposure compensation when you're shooting the slow-mo. As well, it gives you the option to just write that 120 frames per second as a 30p file, but we generally shoot on 24. Now, it's no big deal, it's something I can fix in post, but I'd really like to be able to play back my slow motion at 24 or 30 or 60 frames per second. It's minor, but it's an annoyance. Chris clearly thought he could stump me with magic of flight, but he's forgotten who he's dealing with. Now, I would say audio quality is just as important, if not actually more important than video quality. We still have a mic jack in this, but now we have a headphone jack, so you can finally monitor your audio coming into it. And the preamp is actually really good on this. We're using the exact same levels that we used with our GH5 shooting the rest of the episode. Sounds really nice, as you can hear right now. One other thing Panasonic's added to the G95 that we're used to seeing primarily in the GH series cameras is we get the V-Log L profile in this. So if you need a little bit more dynamic range or you want some flexibility in post, it is there. However, remember that this is an 8-bit only camera, even if you send the signal out to an external recorder. So you don't have a ton of flexibility with the grade. But the other cool thing that we generally only see in the GH series is unlimited record time on this. Drop it in 4K, you're going to be able to keep rolling until your battery or your card runs out.
Chris Bubbles! Yeah, man, I didn't even think you were going to get those today. I even felt a little bit bad choosing that category for you, but there you are.
Okay, had to quickly finish a couple challenges up there. Low down dirty, I mean, my truck is very dirty, so here's a low angle shot of it. And we have ethnic charms, which could be a landmine for cultural insensitivity, but hopefully the Irish won't give me too much flack for this. Now, we haven't spent a ton of time with the G95, and this is still a pre-production camera. But where do I see it fitting? And that's gotten a little more complicated. When the G85 came out, that was one of the most well-rounded all-in-one hybrid photo video shooters at the time, but things have gotten a little more complicated now that we've got the Fuji X-T30 and the Sony a6400. These are cameras with larger sensors that use the full width of the sensor, full sensor readout for their video capture. But you have to remember, this is a camera that offers you a headphone jack, unlimited record time, log recording, and the best stabilization of any camera in this class. That's a very compelling package. If you have an interest in photo and video, and also if you have an interest in time-lapse, which Panasonic I think has the best implementation of, then this camera does make a whole lot of sense. And don't forget, the 12 to 60 is a wonderful range for a kit lens, and we found it to actually be quite a good performer. If you haven't already invested in some micro four thirds lenses, it's a great starter option. Now we will have a full look at this camera once we get our hands on a production model of it and compare it to some of the competition out there. You can look for that comparison coming soon, so don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all again soon on another episode of DPReview TV.